When I fly a jet in Battlefield, one concept almost trumps everything else for me. It is what has made me statistically the most effective attack jet pilot in Battlefield 6, and that concept is flow. Hello guys and welcome to another video. This has been requested a bunch, so today we're doing a post commentary focusing in on some of the secrets that good pilots use in Battlefield. If you guys enjoy this, please let me know with the popularity buttons, and if you hate it, well, too bad. Crop. Anyways, the map is Liberation Peak, the aircraft is the Gripen, and the focal point of today's video is a little thing called flow. Flow is as much what you do as what you don't do. It is the efficiency of flying and how short your paths are between every single action. Furthermore, flying with great flow means that you're buying as many chances to kill as possible. You're taking as many shots on target as you possibly can between any 2 points. That is what separates a lot of the best attack jet pilots from just the average or good ones. Anyways, I'll show you guys what I mean throughout this video. We're going to get into it, and the first thing I have to do right here is take care of my competition. There's 2 enemy jets up, and I'm not sure what the state of my wingman is, so I'm going to play it somewhat passive and start from as far back on my side of the map as I can, and pick the guy that looks like he can die. Looked like that guy, and he got stinged, which is quite nice. My wingman is actually up, and this guy follows him in and gives me a nice little lower profile shot. Pretty much the larger the surface area you have to shoot at in the jet, the better really. It's going to make it a lot easier to shoot them. And straight away, I'm heading back towards spawn, so why not buy another chance at a kill? Now I'm in true farming mode, and I'm taking the shortest path to the objective right now, which is actually just to turn straight up and around towards it. I would usually fly around the mountain when there's a lot of heat, but as you can see right here, I'm not even going around the whole mountain. There's no heat right now, there's no need to. That is actually a major part of just the flow of jets in general, and that is the dynamic nature of matches. When you first load into a match, no one's really going to know who you are or what you're trying to do in the lobby. But as the game goes on, people are going to figure out, hey, this guy's on a 10 kill streak, 20 kill streak, 30 kill streak, 40 kill streak, 600 kill streak, and they're going to figure out that they have to counter you. So the heat, or like the stinger pressure and all the lock-ons, that's going to increase throughout the match. And I'll put a graph on screen of how I like to think about it, but a pretty decent pilot is going to have protocols that they can follow, and they'll pretty much put out the same kills per minute and output regardless of the amount of heat. A really, really good pilot is going to pretty much match their kills per minute to the maximum permissible amount in terms of the heat. So that is exactly what I'm doing right here. I am taking the shortest path between C flag, which is where the enemy are mostly playing, and my resupply. That is the most optimal strategy for getting as many kills as possible on this map. So I'm going to keep doing it on repeat. Another jet did spawn, but I did see that he was flying dead straight in a really, really kind of, I wouldn't say bot, but like a really simple way. And that usually indicates that he's probably not going to be a great pilot. A really good pilot will be on the control straight away and starting to interpret the game as soon as they spawn in. So I was willing to let him fly straight and then meet him on my side of the map. He bails the jet, that's fine. Anyways, threats are down. There should be another jet up any second now. So if you remember from before, the attack jet died first to the Stinger, and the stealth jet was then killed by me about 5-10 seconds later. So there is a stealth jet available to spawn. So I'm going to keep flying straight and be above their spawn. And in case I see him as I turn back around here, I would dive on him. He's not being spawned on cooldown though, so he's not up yet. It does give me another chance to strafe on target. Technically there, I could have just shot an infantry, but the IFV at this point in the game, this match was recorded before the bug was fixed, so this is a really deadly match to be playing. I have to go for the IFV. IFV is just like on Code Red protocol, but if this was after the patch where the IFV doesn't have bugged missiles anymore, the IFV would probably not take priority. But that's why I'm soloing the IFV so intensely. He gets my full focus until he dies. Anyways, here's another little bit of flow right here. I'm diverting my rearm by about 3 seconds just for a chance at a kill on an infantryman. Again, it's just a chance, and that's what it's all about. It's about getting as many chances at kills, as many shots on target as possible, and as you get better, those chances will become kills way, way more often. Something to remember as well is that as the #1 KPM attack jet pilot in the world, my KPM is only around 2.7 to 2.8. I almost had it at 3 when I was playing a lot of Liberation Peak, but that's not high numbers. Trading 3 seconds out of your entire minute for another kill chance is objectively worth doing, And that's why I do those things so often. Those little chances do add up, and it ends up making you a much more efficient pilot. Anyways, the game is still not giving me very much heat, so I'm still flying quite aggressively here, and I did notice a tank driving around the side of the map. Couldn't find any infantry, so that was going to be my kill. And again, we're going back to the base as quickly as possible. Once again, not really having to use the mountain for cover just yet, because no one's really locking onto me yet. This is still very, very early game on the match. The enemy still has 820 tickets, and we are winning the game, so we have even more than that. So again, very, very early days. And I can already tell there's going to be people in the comments already saying, oh, you're not getting locked on already. Well, this is early days. As I said, people will lock onto you once you've proven your presence in most games. Sometimes you will get locked off the bat by 5 people, and that is just the luck of the game. But for the most part, this is roughly what it's going to look like. You're not going to get too much pressure until you've proven a good amount of presence, and then they will start to clue on. Your efficiency and your flow also affects how much you can get done in this kind of grace period while the enemy is still cluing on. Usually I find it's roughly around the same time, not the same amount of kills. So like 5 to 10 minutes into the game is usually when a lot of people are going to start locking onto you more. So if you can get 50 kills by the 10-minute mark, you've done a lot and you've already set up that game for success. You've set that game up on well and truly world record pace, and you're doing your job there. So again, it's not necessarily about how many kills you've got, it's about how quickly you can get them in that little grace period. So at this point in the game, I've noticed that there's an IFE in their spawn that's just spamming missiles. This thing has to die. This thing is blocking my flow. So we are going to take care of this and then swiftly fly back to my base as soon as possible. But as I'm flying to base, why not go for an infantryman? You know, that's an extra kill in the kills per minute. If you consistently look for those kind of kills when you're flying out, that's going to add up. That's going to add up to 15 kills a game maybe, and that's the difference between someone who's extremely proficient and just fairly good. Now the reason why I wanted to point out killing that IFE is because that IFE is something that I call a flow blocker. Now there are certain flow blockers like stingers that you can't really even consider because you can't counter them out of the game. They're just going to be there, and there's going to be more and more of them as you keep doing better, and they are just going to slow you down unless you want to die to them, and that's fine. You can die to them, just know that if you're going to take 90 seconds off, you better be getting a 7 or an 8-piece bomb to make up for that. Anyways, things like jets, things like an annoying helicopter with heat seekers, things like an IFE in its spawn trying to shoot at you, those are all things that are going to slow down your flow, and you have to take care of them in the most efficient way possible, because the more time you spend dealing with those kind of threats, the more time you're not strafing sea flags, strafing infantry, just getting as many kills as possible and ultimately doing your job for your team. So those kind of flow blockers are things that I absolutely focus in on my gameplay, and that is actually why spawn camping jets off spawn is the strongest strategy for dealing with jets. Again, it's not the coolest thing to do. I don't like that it's meta, but with the non-existent skill ceiling of dogfighting in Battlefield 6, this is the best way to play. Firstly, the spawn is so close that they can get on your 6 within about 3 seconds of spawning, so if you miss that timing, you could just die to that. And then secondly, there's no dogfighting skill gap, and the TTK is so fast that they could just insta-kill you. So that's why that strategy exists. I don't like it, but that is why that strategy exists. Now, another thing I'm doing here is I'm shooting a lot of backwards missiles, and that one doesn't connect there, but a lot of the time they do. And this is something called actions per minute, which a lot of good players do focus on. It's pretty much just filling your time with doing stuff as much as possible and spending as little time not doing stuff. I mean, it's quite simple, right? But this is something that I absolutely focused on very, very heavily in Battlefield 4, and it's something that made me one of the more efficient pilots in that game as well. I was always trying to do something, whether that be strafing infantry with the cannons while I can, or if someone locks onto me, I'll try and turn around and kill them with my ECM jammer rather than just flying away. Or if I see a helicopter, rather than just flying over it because I couldn't kill it in that game with the damage per second of the jet, I just shoot at it anyway. You might get the kill sometimes. You might kill steal someone else sometimes. It's just about being in it to win it. You've got to be in it to win it, and that's a big part of flying jets. As you can see, my flying route is becoming more adapted towards the mountain. I'm getting up towards a lot more often. I'm using cover a lot more now because the locks are starting to come in at this point. So you can't really do anything about it. You just have to play to the counters. So I'm going to fly closer to the mountain now, but still not behind the mountain because they're not treating me that seriously, but I want the option there. I need the option there in case they do actually start to circle lock me. I can dip over that mountain with my flares and I'll live to fight another day. But if you watch any of my Jett gameplays, you can just observe the way that the aggressiveness will decrease as the enemy aggressiveness increases. But I am always, and I strive to, fly on the limit. I try to fly as close to dying as possible, and threading that needle is what makes it so fun for me. That's the thing that still keeps me coming back to flying public Battlefield games in a Jett. It is still enjoyable to push that limit and get really, really close to dying on stingers. Anyways, what I'm doing here is, again, the habit that I've said that is very, very good. As you're flying in back to base, if you're not on a flare cooldown, you might as well look for a kill. Like, why wouldn't you just go for an extra kill there? Additionally, when you're dealing with infantry targets in the Jett, it's not the target that matters the most that you're shooting at, it's the guy that's standing the most still. Like, that is seriously the main thing I look at. It's like, A, is the target in cannon range? It has to be. But then after that, it's whoever's standing still, because you can insta-kill someone standing still before they can react. But if someone's moving and dodging, you can't really insta them. Right here, we're in a dogfight. Dogfighting is important, firstly, just so you can take care of your adversaries. But then as you get better and better at dogfighting, it actually allows you to deal with them faster so you can spend more time killing ground targets, which is ultimately what wins games in a Jett. This guy gets lost, flies away, about to hit him with a diabolical beam. And unfortunately, there's nothing he can do in this game. Now, this one I'm getting designated, which is one of the biggest flow blockers in the game. I mean, it's one of the just kill streak ending insta-win buttons in Battlefield 6, so I am looking hard for an LAV. Unfortunately, a Jett spawns up at the wrong time, and I'm just going to fly in and get one strafe in on C. I look for targets. I actually don't see anything there. I'm not going to drop my bombs blind, even though I could potentially get them back and spawn there. It's not guaranteed, though. Sometimes you just won't get a resupply, so I'm not willing to lose my bombs. Just going to look for the Jett. Can't see the Jett, and I see my friendly up in a weird spot, which means that I'm pretty safe to assume that the other Jett's died. I'm guessing he brought the friendly up there. And we do end up seeing the LAV, and that is now going to take precedence. I've got eyes on it finally. I do see that he had a red light on him, which means he's laser designating me. And I am watching like a hawk from a distance, trying to see that guy. Strafing from a high angle here to try to ensure that he can't lock onto me. And again, absolute focus comes to the IFV. And as I'm flying out, why not drop bombs there? You know, I see a guy, it's a chance at a kill. It's all about those chances. And you can see Attack Jet Mastery level 50, so I just unlocked that this game. And what a game to do it on, because this game was absolutely insane. Again, you know, if I don't see somewhere in my first pass through, an absolute flow fundamental is just to keep flying and keep looking at common spots. You will probably see someone, and then you just take the chance. It's all about just buying another chance. So that wasn't where I was intending on bombing, but again, just keep flying in the direction of enemies. I try to draw a line over where as many enemies could be as possible with my Jett, and fly that route, and you know, it's like a flowchart. Is the enemy here? Yes, drop bomb, no, go next. See another Jett come up, that is definitely going to be a priority, but again, he's flying straight. Doesn't really have much direction to his flight, so I do feel confident enough to kill the tank and then look for the Jett. Spot him flying out over the map, and I should go kill him now. And I'm using the mountain a lot more at this point because, again, I'm being locked up at this kind of height, so adjusting that aggressiveness to suit whatever the enemy's doing, but being on the line. You want to be as aggressive as you can be. A lot of players there would also flare and then fly away, but my flares are up and I'm going pretty fast. I may as well, again, buy another chance at a kill. It's all about just buying as many chances as you can. I'm really stressing this in because I think it matters a lot, and I think you're going to get a lot better at flying Jetts if you do buy yourself those chances and have a go at them, because it's almost like if you think of aim training versus playing an FPS game. The reason why aim training actually works is because you're isolating a situation far, far more often and spending more time doing that task. It's the same thing in Jetts. If you buy yourself more tasks to try, you'll get better at doing the task. So, yeah, drilling it in. And again, taking care of that flow blocker, the IFV. And there was a jet that spawned that I hit, so I'm going to turn around and look for that in my peripheral vision. But I will try and kill someone with the cannons on the way out. We'll try to kill as many as I can. Again, I didn't actually end up getting those last 2 guys, but I did try and have the opportunity on them. Now again, in this strafe, actions per minute, what helps that is taking actions that you can complete very, very quickly to go on to another action. So, or a simultaneous action like that. You know, I lock one guy, the missile's in the air, and by the time the missile's hit, I'm already on another guy. So, things like low HP targets or single infantry kills that are standing still that you can confidently bomb from a distance, or, you know, a jeep or anything that you can one-shot. Those are all very, very good for multi-target strafes. There's nothing to really explain about that kill. I just thought it was an absolute beam. Anyways, we have flares, and once again, we're looking for the area that has the most kills. Looking at B as I fly into the enemy jet. So, again, buying a chance at a potential kill there while I'm going for my necessary target, the jet. I actually took too long doing this, and I probably could have died if they fired missiles earlier, but I managed to get over the mountain just in time. If I was flying more optimally, I'd be afterburners on, staying as close to that other jet as possible while still shooting at it, just to get out of there a bit faster. And now the heat's really getting turned up. I'm going to use the mountain properly, so I'm flying all the way up here, where I can easily turn back if I need to. But if they let me get to this point without locking me already, then I get a free strafe, and that's what I'm going for here. Again, shoot one target to open up the strafe, but end up finishing on another. Pause. That's just really, really good actions per minute gaming right there, even though I didn't get a kill on the first missile. And right now, I went for a resupply, but my other jet took it, so I have no bombs. A lot of pilots would stay looping around that resupply trying to get more bombs, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get another bomb next time you go over it, so I like to just go back out and go for another kill. What constrains my killing is not really the resupply as much as it is the flares. I mean, sure, early game, there's no locks, it is kind of the resupply, but late game like this, when there's only really, you know, single kills to be found, the flares are far more important for getting kills than the bombs are. Again, 2 bombs right there, but only 1 kill. It's the same output as the cannons. So anyways, we're getting towards the end of the game. What are some things you guys should take away from this video? Firstly, think about the dynamic nature of games. You can often get a lot more done in the first 5 minutes than the last 5 minutes. I almost guarantee you can, actually. So try and think about where the limit is and fly towards that. Opportunities. You know, how many opportunities are you granting yourself at kills? Doesn't matter if you don't get them every time. You don't need the perfect opportunities. Just keep going for every single one, because by doing that, you'll actually get better at the game. And I guarantee it. You'll start to get those kills coming through, just as long as you keep going for those shots. Another thing is flow blockers. What are the things that impede your gameplay? Can you take care of them? If you can, do that. And finally, actions per minute. Try to always be doing something. Make sure your pathing is as direct as the game allows you to fly at that given moment. Again, always do something. When you're flying away from strafes, look in the rear cam, see if you can get a little missile off. As you're flying back towards base, see if you can get a kill on an infantry. As you're just flying around the place, see if you can tag up that one vehicle that's on 20 health. Just think about things that you can do very quickly so you can get onto that next thing. Again, this video is probably a lot of micro stuff, but this is a lot of the stuff that really makes my gameplay tick, and it's the stuff that I learned from watching others and I've tried to implement over the years. So again, if you guys did enjoy this style of video, please do hit me up with the popularity buttons, that like, that subscribe. I do appreciate it a lot. Thank you guys so much for 200,000 subs. That's insane. And I will see you guys all on the next one. Peace.